Hey Learning Birds, this is Mr. Ozarka with another lesson brought to you by LearningBird.com. If you have any questions about the following video, you can email me at mrozarka@gmail.com. Alright, here we go. Alright, so this is going to be a video about the differences between temperature and heat. Now these are two terms that are very, very closely related, but sometimes people get them a little bit confused. So hopefully this video will help clear up any of that confusion. First thing we're going to start with is temperature. Temperature has a symbol of capital T, and it's basically just how hot or cold something is. So I'm going to use the analogy of length. Length can be measured using a ruler. Now a ruler is a device that measures how long or short something is. Temperature is a measurement of how hot or cold something is, and it's measured using a thermometer. Okay, so when you think of temperature, just think of how hot or cold something is relative to something else. Okay, now you might say, oh wow, it's really hot outside today because it's like 90 degrees outside, but that's nothing compared to how hot the sun is. So temperature is still relative to other temperatures. What you consider hot and cold is different for everybody depending on the scale we're using. How do we measure temperature? Well, there's three basic units that the world uses. One is Celsius, and that's the most common that's used in the world, except for the US basically, where we in the United States we use Fahrenheit. And then what scientists use, however, is called Kelvin. It's got this capital K for the symbol. Basically, it's based on 0 Kelvin being the lowest possible temperature. So the great thing about Kelvin scale is it completely gets rid of any negative numbers. It says that 0 is the coldest that you can possibly be. Now they base this coldness off of all atomic motion stopping. So if a temperature is based off how fast the atoms are moving around and bumping into each other, if you go to 0, technically speaking, all those atoms would stop moving. It's considered theoretical because we have not actually been able to reach 0 Kelvin. The coldest that scientists have been able to get in a laboratory is about 0.0001 Kelvin. So it's still very, very, very cold, but they have not gotten it down to be completely 0 Kelvin. Temperature conversion. So if you have a certain temperature unit and you want to convert it from Celsius to Fahrenheit, or from Fahrenheit to Celsius, or Celsius to Kelvin, you can use these three equations right here. We're going to talk about these a little bit more in a different video. But this first one, it says temperature in Fahrenheit. If you're looking for the temperature in degrees Fahrenheit, this is the one you would want to use if your temperature is already in degrees Celsius, like it is right here. So you would take whatever the degrees Celsius, let's just say it's 20, and you would multiply it by this 1.8, and then you would add 32, and then you would have the temperature in Fahrenheit. And this other equation, this second one right here, is just the exact opposite. Instead of going from Celsius to Fahrenheit, this time you're finding Celsius from the known Fahrenheit value. The last one right here kind of shows how Kelvin is related to Celsius. If you take the temperature in degrees Celsius and you add 273, that's how you end up getting the temperature in Kelvin. Heat is a form of energy. So we talked about temperature being a measurement. Heat is not necessarily a measurement. You can measure heat, but heat itself is a form of energy. Now, if you remember, a form of energy is anything that causes change. Heat, in this case, causes matter to change temperature. Again, temperature is a measurement. Heat causes an object's temperature to change. So how hot or cold something is, heat can help change that temperature. Now, not all heat does actually change temperature depending on what temperature range you're at. There is a such thing as called as latent heat, but here we're speaking very generally and not worried about this latent heat. So for the most part, just think heat causes matter to change temperature. It causes atoms to speed up, which causes temperature to change. The symbol for heat is Q, and it's measured using what's called a calorimeter. So temperature is measured using a thermometer, or heat is measured using something that's called a calorimeter, which we're going to talk about in a later video. So that's basically the difference between temperature and heat. If you have any questions about anything in this video, let me know. If you thought this lesson helped you, please be sure to click "This was helpful." For other great lessons, be sure to check out LearningBird.com.